It's a little crappy weather today. So the question of the hour is Russell Brand a vapeist? Vaping. Not vaping, but the other word. But anyway, I'm actually going to take a unique take on the situation that no one else is going to. Certain people are going to jump in and say he's guilty, which, let's just say, if he actually did what they said he did, I wouldn't be surprised. I call these types of people online savages for a reason. Their content demonstrates a savagery to their personalities, a sort of disregard for others, and a focus on self. This is what we see with Jimmy Dore, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, and many others. So that plus the sort of cultish look that, things have gotten. I mean, the guy just seems like he's just strung out. I mean, he's had problems with drugs in the past. And supposedly he's out of that now, but I mean, you look at him, I mean, just ripping off his shirt and screaming at the camera, and just everything about it just seems very, very cultish. And when you think about these cult leaders that are doing certain things they shouldn't be doing with certain female members of their groups, this is what it looks like. The leaders will look exactly like Russell Brand, behave as he does. They'll talk a lot about peace and love and togetherness. Meanwhile, they're getting a little bit too together with certain female members of all kinds of ages. But that's all speculation. It's all opinion. I don't know the guy. Maybe he didn't do anything. I don't know. All I'm saying is, if I found he was guilty, I would not be surprised. And this goes for most of these online savages. Like someone like Steven Crowder, the stuff that came out, none of it was surprising. I mean, this is how he behaves online. So I'm not surprised that goes on. But here's what I'm going to talk about that no one else is going to. Everyone's going to either be, he's guilty, obviously he's guilty, or they're going to cape for him, and there's going to be the apologist saying, oh, it's because he's speaking the truth and blah, blah, blah. I mean, the kind of, sort of simpleton thought process that you see in America, right? Surely this can't be true. It's got to be a big conspiracy that they're trying to silence him, right? Right. Just like how we have this crazy deep state with all this power and able to be hidden for decades, and Donald Trump is supposedly some big threat to them, but yet he's still alive. That's the kind of, just dumb thought process we have in this country. But with that being said, here's what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about Russell Brand, whether he's guilty or not guilty. What I want to talk about is the reality that if I went online and all day, every day talked about, this woke stuff and CRT and, the socialism and the Democrats trying to damage this country, and, they hate America and blah, blah, the open borders, right? If I went online and I did that every day, right? And especially if I was very wealthy, all right? It's essentially an elite, right? Upper class, multiple millions of dollars, and I had a decent following. And let's just say I was a predator of sorts. I think you know what kind of predator I'm talking about. And, I went around assaulting a bunch of women, right? I can almost guarantee you that if these women eventually spoke out against me, I would be completely protected by the American right wing. Let's be clear. If I was a left-wing predator, assaulted multiple women, potentially, I would also potentially get a pass, right? Because if someone on the left was sort of a political legend and wanted to run for office and chose to run under a company founded by a predator, you'd still have a bunch of left-wing people pushing this candidate very hard, even though this candidate was part of the company run by this predator behind the scenes, so would have known this stuff. There was a better party to run under, but chose to run under the party run by a predator. Just like the right wing, certain parts of the left wing would give a pass. So it's not just a right wing thing. You hear what I'm saying? Again, it's not about Russell Brand. Just get that out again. I know people listening to this are going to be caught up in the Russell Brand stuff. Forget about him. I'm saying if I did that, if I were a predator, if I assaulted multiple women, because of the fact that I'm like this culture warrior, and it also helps that I have a big following. People like Ben Shapiro, people like what's the guy from Valuetainment guy, whatever his name is, Brett, whatever. You know, Steven Crowder and Black Conservative, Officer Tatum, all the usual clowns would defend me. At a minimum, they would not come after me, right? And it could be that maybe I even did stuff with children as well. You're not going to see Ben Shapiro coming after me and Protect the Kids. The Protect the Kids brigade would not come after me, right? At a minimum, they would be silent, right? At a minimum, they would be silent, but more than likely, they would defend me, right? So basically, all I'd have to do is come out and say, oh, this is people just trying to get money. They're looking for attention. This is what they do. I have a large platform, and I've been calling out all this woke stuff, and now they're coming for me because they don't want the truth to come out. I am a pain in their ass. They don't like that I'm exposing them, right? So surprise, surprise, as I get bigger and I keep calling out these elites, all of a sudden women coming out the woodwork saying that I'm a predator and I did this and I did that. Listen, I have never done anything like that at all. Everything I've ever done has always been consensual. And you got to ask yourself, all these women are from years and years ago. Why is it that they're saying this now that I'm getting famous and I'm attacking all these elites? At the same time, it's not literally the same time, but I'm gonna say that at the same time, now they come in and they want to shut me down. They want to shut me up, right? Because that's what's happening in this country, where you don't have freedom of speech anymore. I'm saying stuff that they don't like, so now they want to come and manufacture this nonsense. And plus, you have these freeloaders, looking for a check, right? And I would go and do an interview on Ben Shapiro's channel and Brett David, whatever, and I would go out there and say, listen, man, I treat all women with respect. I believe and this and that, and you could talk to all the people that actually generally know, and they tell me I'm a good guy, and they I just, even people that don't like me are out there saying there's no way he did this stuff. I could be the biggest predator ever, and the American right wing would completely defend me, even if it involves children. And they would play this little game, and if I get off, because there's many people who get off, right? The right wing will tell you that people they don't prosecute or whatever, right? If I get off, then they say, see, Matt Gaetz. If I do get convicted, all of the apologia will mostly go away, but then it's silence, rather than converting to like, oh my goodness, so I made a lot of videos going after predators and this and that and Protect the Kids, and now that it's confirmed that he's one of them, now I'm gonna go after him. He's a scumbag, blah, blah, blah. No, that doesn't happen. All the apologia goes silent, right? Maybe someone does an honorable mention just to pretend, like a Ben Shapiro might do a video and say one little thing, but then you'll make dozens of videos going after a liberal who was accused, right? Didn't get convicted, nothing really came of it, but he'll spend a lot of time going after that person, repeating it over and over again. But for this, he'll just do one little video kind of softly, like, well, I always said, if he's guilty, then and now he's guilty, and that's, he should go to jail, So anyone says anything, you can be like, listen, Ben Shapiro called him out. Don't know if Russell Brand is guilty or not. What I do know is that the American right wing are going to have his back and are going to defend him to death. And if he ends up being guilty, they're not going to go after him with the same level of fervor that they've been going after liberals. Because a lot of these folks that we call conservatives in social media, not really conservatives, they're anti-liberals. That is their ideology, going against liberals. That's all they care about, right? So it doesn't matter whether he actually assaulted his women or not. They will never care. They will never demonize him. He'll never be given the Epstein treatment. And even Epstein, Donald Trump, the leader of the Republican Party, says, I wish her well, right? We haven't seen him spend a ton of time going after Epstein, like as if he discussed him. I mean, he went after a little girl in Europe, much more harder than he's said anything about Epstein, right? He says to his partner, I wish her well. And somehow that's okay, right? Russell Brand will never get the Epstein treatment, and even the Epstein treatment was kind of softened by the fact that Trump was his friend, his associate, whatever, and he's soft on him. So it's kind of like, Epstein's evil, but Trump. So it doesn't matter whether he's guilty or not to the American right wing. just like it wouldn't matter if I was guilty or not. If I pandered to them hard enough, there's almost nothing I could do that would matter in terms of, violating their moral compass. You know, the only thing that really gets them upset is liberals. That is the point. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate Me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.